Nano nano. Can you hear me? Well, what's been going on? I am so super lazy, I just can't seem to sit down and do a video, so I'm extra bored right now, so I decided to do it anyway. So here we go. Gotta go back to work tomorrow. Hopefully that goes well. I've decided to knuckle down and try and pay attention to life better, whatever. I don't know how to say it. Try and give it a go. The old college try. And not be a sad sack. Not that I ever wanted to be, bummed out or whatever. But anyways, so actually, I had decided this, a couple days ago. Well, while I was still in the middle of my work week, and started the next day. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it my all, and even though I don't feel appreciated here, I'm just gonna give it a try, and maybe they'll come around, and and then everything will work out, or whatever. I'll just do my best, like I always do. I always do my best at work or whatever I'm working at. If I ever get around to doing it, I try to do my best. And that's, what can you ask? Can't ask more than that. So I was like, all right, I won't go in there thinking I'm gonna. Every time I went to work, like the last 2 months probably, I was like, somewhere in the middle of the night, during the shift, something happens. And I'm like, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm gonna quit. I'll just finish this one thing and then I'll quit. And then I keep working and finish that one thing. Well, I'll just finish out the night and then I'll tell them I'm done. Whatever. And then I'm like, well, I'll go home and maybe I'll feel differently when I get up in the afternoon, because I work nights. Maybe I'll feel differently. So it just keeps kind of stretching out and stretching out. And it's probably a good thing, because I've decided to, rededicate myself and my attention to what I've been, to everything. I'm here, I might as well do it, right? Might as well do it right. Thanks to one of my subs for pointing out that Mark Passio had put out some new videos, new seminars about natural law and, natural law basically, and how all that works. And I basically agree with 100% of that. I really don't have too much of an issue with it. And that's the way it's been. Like when I talk about our government and their laws, that's man's law. It's a lot of crap. It's so easily corruptible. But there's, in the background of creation, are just X number of laws, very simple natural laws that govern everything. Doesn't matter who you think you are, they apply. And that's really cool, because you can't get around them. You're some fancy king or whatever. It doesn't matter. Sorry. So I like that. And that got me to thinking about my so-called depression. And I'm like not caring. I just don't care. Walking, just kind of sleepwalking through life and hoping it ends soon. Because this sucks. And I was thinking, one of the laws is cause and effect. So what am I causing with all this? Walking around with I don't care stenciled on my forehead. What kind of life is that going to bring me? See, even if I, passed away, all of this gets passed on and it's creating a crappy life. So it's like this. It's like we're all in a game. Let's say baseball, and we're all on the field, and a lot of us don't know that we're in a game and there are rules, but there are. That's how creation works. That's how this whole system works. There are rules. Just because you don't know about them, that doesn't mean they're not applying to you. And just because you don't care, just like I haven't cared recently, doesn't mean that these rules aren't applying, and you're not playing the game. Oh, just because you're standing there in center field looking the other way, that don't mean the ball ain't going to hit you on the head. Right? So that being the case, I figured, well, if I am in the game and I am part of the game, I am the game, I might as well dedicate myself to doing it right, and then that's how you get out of the shitty existence. I believe that's how you get out anyway. And belief will be enough for now. But I'm pretty sure that's how you get out. It's not by moping around and hoping you die soon. But that doesn't, you still, those feelings are valid, whatever. So anyways, Mark Passio has that great, I consider it to be helpful, kind of wakes you up a little bit. I'll put a link to that. And so I kind of rededicated myself. A couple days ago, like I said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to pay attention to all their little guidelines and, as far as my work situation goes, and do the best job that I can, like I usually do, try to. And within an hour, I had hurt my leg. So I was like, man. Every time I try to get, I don't want to say every time, but it seems like every time I try to get headed in a positive direction, something stops me for some reason. Like I try to exercise and then I get a cold. Just got to plow through that, I guess. So I hurt my leg jumping down, and I just strained my calf muscle. It wasn't too big a deal, but it hurt pretty good. So working at my job is climbing around stairs and the equipment all day. So you kind of need your calf muscles. So I was like, can I go home, or what's the deal? And they said, no, you can work on that. You can work through the pain. I'm like, I can work through the pain? You gonna pay me extra? I mean, what? I already really don't care for this job as it is, and now I have to be in pain during it on top of that. So I didn't like that. I said, well, what's my options? Because I can't do that. So they did let me take a taxi down to the hospital and the emergency room. Blah blah blah. This is the point of the video, by the way. It's very simple. I had a muscle strain. The doctor came in, whatever. But before that, I haven't been to the ER in decades. Anyway, it's been a long time. So I don't know what questions they ask people. What's the new deal when you go into the ER? But when I went in this time, they ask everything like your social security number and where you live, and they wanted to know my physical address because I have a P.O. box. Nobody needs to know where I physically live. Really? Why? But they asked that, and I said, yeah, I'd rather not give that to you. What, are you going to come over? No, you're not going to come over. Well, you don't need to know that. But anyways, that's not the point. But the next series of questions was about my mental health. I'm like, look, you need to know my mental state. I hurt my leg. I'm not saying any of this. They're just asking their questions, right? And I answer them. I can't answer them truthfully because, yes, I've had depressed thoughts. Have you had depressed thoughts lately? I'm like, why? Why are you even asking? I'm thinking to myself, why are they even asking this? Is this the new series of questions that they're asking you? And you know how gun control is all now is kind of heading down the mental health path. That's their avenue to get at your guns. That's the angle they're using. You can see it if you're looking. So, like, I can't tell these people that I have had depressed thoughts. You know, I'm not feeling like super ecstatic about everything. Can't tell them that. So I had to lie. They forced me to lie to them, and I said no. And then they asked me about my tetanus shot. They said, like, oh, you're probably up on your tetanus shot, right? I'm like, yeah, I am, yeah. So I had to lie about that because I don't want any of their shots. I figure it's okay to lie to your enemy. They don't know they're my enemy, but if their remedy for my negative thoughts is to come take my guns away and my rights away, then they're my enemy. So potentially, so I have to lie just in case. I don't know whether they are or not. So, so I said, yeah, I'm all up on my tetanus because I don't want that. What else did they ask? Oh, do you take flu shots? And I should have kept going. I should have said no. I mean, I should have said yes. Yes, I love my flu shots. Should have said that, but I didn't. I said no, I don't take those. And no, I didn't go into why I don't take them. This is not the time for big arguments. So yeah, I don't know if you've been to the ER lately, but that's the questions I went through. I don't know why and they also asked, is home a safe place for you? This must be like for women and kids. These questions sound like for women and kids, but they just ask everybody just in case, maybe? I don't know. Because, home safe place for a grown adult male? Yeah, I mean, am I getting slapped around by somebody? Yeah, it's a safe place for me. It's better than work. So there's that issue. So I don't know if you've been asked that stuff. So there's that. The internet is super slow right now. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if I'll be able to upload this tonight. But whatever, that's not important. So there's that issue. So I'm trying to refocus myself. Snap out of it. What else? Let's talk about Dave Acton for a second. Dave Acton is talking about the power outage false flags and coming up on, what day is this? February 11th. Coming up on this weekend, he's thinking that there's going to be some banker outage and potentially false flag to cover a banker, shut down, whatever. So I don't know if that's true, but whatever. One of the things he's focusing on is they had a power outage sometime last year that involved snipers. They shot up a substation. They or one person, I don't know whether they ever caught anybody. And he was saying that they shot, I think it was 17 transformers in such a way that it was strategic so that the station didn't blow up. Well, I was just thinking about that. I mean, if you're going to shoot at a substation, wouldn't you want it to blow up? I mean, why are you strategically shooting it? They ended up just rerouting around that substation, the power, you can do that, flexible grid, whatever, but that sounds kind of sketchy to me that they actually really shot strategically. I mean, you would just take out the insulators and, the lines would come crashing down and that would be enough. Big explosion. It worked in New York, right? Remember Sandy? Hurricane Sandy? I'm very skeptical about that. These substations are solid. You gotta have, I mean, if you had like a lot of, like an inch ice on the lines, maybe something can happen. But Hurricane Sandy was just some wind. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't even that bad. It was certainly not nearly bad enough to take out the substation that happened in New York. And that was the main problem with the whole thing, that they had no power. I'm very skeptical about that one. I mean, they could have just thrown a wrench at it and that was it. On purpose. To make this big Sandy storm deal. But I don't know. That's speculation on my part. But anyways, back to California. Like I said, that doesn't make any sense. That they shot strategically. So I'm thinking that none of that even happened. All right? You know how these power companies are gaming the system to sell power more expensively to you. So that may be one of those things where they said, "Oh, we lost a substation." Just saying they did. We lost a substation, so, something happened, whatever. And they jacked their prices up, and they just reroute around it. And there was no terrorism. Because the whole idea that they shot strategically without causing an explosion, that does not make sense for terrorism's sake. That's some lousy terrorists. So I would say they made that up. And, there was no terrorism. They like us to think that there is. That's an easy way to have terrorism without actually having terrorists. You just say it happened, And another thing, transitioning, terror. Why are they having the Olympics in Sochi? That's like Miami, Florida. I mean, it's like 60 degrees, they said. Why? And you know why. We all know why. It's because of terror. They want it. They want terror to remain a focus of our attention. They do. Come on. There's no other reason. It's a nice place, but that's not the reason, is it? Really? The Winter Olympics, we're talking. They could have had the Summer Olympics there. So, that's all that is. And it'll probably be just a lot of talk about terror, and then nothing happens. And that's good. I don't care. Don't need terror. Don't need it to happen. And the other thing was this retired cop down in Florida who shot the guy for texting in the theater. I don't know if he pled guilty. Or maybe he did. I don't know. But they showed the incident. Okay? Camera in the theater. Oh. Somehow they showed that incident, but we don't get to see the Aurora incident. Oh, well, no cameras in the theater. What are you talking about? Anyway, we see this one. Okay? They showed this one. And you see the old guy, sitting directly behind whoever's texting. It looked like an empty theater. It's like these two guys. Really? You're going to sit? I don't know who chose which seat. But anyways, they're sitting one behind the other. And the guy in front, the younger guy is texting, blah, blah, blah. And so the older guy, the ex-sheriff or whatever he is, he's like, he keeps talking to him like, hey, you want to, I don't know what he's saying. Probably saying, don't do that. And he even gets up and goes to talk to the management, and apparently comes back and sits down in the same seat behind the guy who's texting, which is annoying him. Okay. And then I think he leans forward again, and that kind of sets the guy off in front of him. And the guy grabs his popcorn and throws it in his face like that, like really violently, you know. And that's kind of scary, you know. And if you got a gun on you and you're trained to defend yourself, you could say that, you know, that guy was violent and I didn't know where he was taking this, and he shot him like this, you know, in a split second. It was like almost without thinking. Now people can argue that he could have moved, and that the judge is arguing that in what they showed him in his hearing, whatever that was. The judge argued that. I mean, yeah, he could have moved, but he has, I would like to say, differentiate. You get, let's say you're sitting there and you don't have a gun, all right? Do you have to move in that case? Now, you have the right to sit there, right? Okay. Now we're getting technical here. You have the right to sit there and voice your opinion about this person in front of me texting. You have the right to do that. So, but if you have a gun, you don't have the right to do that? No, you really do. You still have the right to do that. I know there's like lots of little rules about guns and stuff, and you're putting yourself in a situation where you could use... Yeah. Let's not get gay on that issue. All right? Let's stay focused. You have the right to sit there. And you have the right to tell that guy, or ask him, if possible politely, to stop that. Even if you have a gun. And when the guy gets violent, and he did, even though he's throwing popcorn, you don't know where this is going. That's violent. If you look at it, that's pretty scary. The guy's flipping out. That guy chose to do that. Okay? I know the ex-sheriff or whatever it was put himself in the situation. He could have avoided the situation. And they'll all say that that was his fault. But in the end, the other guy got violent. And he has no right to do that. So the other guy, the cop, or the ex-cop, whatever it was, he was up to then within his rights. And then from there, I mean, you shouldn't even argue about whether you should put yourself in that situation. That shouldn't really, in my opinion, that should be off the table. You're not allowed to sit where you want, whether you have a gun or not. If you can have a gun, then he can sit anywhere he wants in the theater. Okay? So to me, the problem was that the guy got violent. In the end, he created a situation that got himself killed. Would he have done that if he knew the guy had a gun? I don't care. Why are you getting violent? That's something we need to not do. This argument, interestingly, works on the national level. Worked with Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein, we put all these rules into effect for Saddam to follow. And then when we go in and murder him, we say it was his fault. Okay? So it works on that level, but not on the individual level, for some reason. Okay? There's a little hypocrisy here. That guy got violent. He created the situation. They got him killed. In my opinion, for now. I don't know if it'll last. If it was me, yeah, I would have moved. I've been through worse. Guy sitting right behind me, talking on his cell phone, kicking the seat, And I didn't say anything to this guy. I didn't move, but I didn't say anything to him. I wanted to murder him, but I didn't. Because, that's a big deal. But anyways, there's that. There's my opinion on that for now. Right? Maybe there's more to it. And I was thinking about, now they got this Sochi Olympics, right? So every time a gay person does something, it's amazing, right? Oh, and the guy's gay. You got a medal. This is my problem with gays. I have no problem. It's the media. It's what they're doing with it. They make it a big deal. It's like saying, oh, it's amazing that a woman can be a CEO of a corporation. Like, what? Is it really amazing? You've been telling me all my life that women are the same as men, basically. But you make a big deal out of it when the CEO. It's the big deal. That's the problem I have with all this, with the gayness. I don't have a problem with the gays. It's as if they're trying to perpetuate an agenda. As if. I don't know that they are. And then they're making a big deal out of Putin not letting the gays protest. Well, in America, they should be allowed to protest. It would annoy me, but they should be allowed to, right? But that's Russia. That's not the U.S. Just shut the fuck up. Let them. They get their rules. I'm not saying the gays should shut up. I'm saying that the media should shut up about it. They have their rules, and if gay people want to protest, they're taking a chance. They know that. That's all right with me. Go ahead, do it. I just hate the big deal they make about it. It's not a big deal. I'm not surprised when a football player says he's gay. Oh, amazing! A gay man can play football. I'm not amazed. Come on, don't make a big deal out of it. But they do. And as if, and I still don't believe Putin is at odds with the United States in any way, except on the surface. What else was going on? I'm just going to keep talking. The other thing was, we're still going through, it's just endless with this Snowden stuff. Is it Edward Snowden? Edward Snowden. It just never ends. It just keeps going on and on and on. To me, just the fact that it's covered again and again and again, and it brings up a division between the U.S. and Russia. Just to me, it sounds so manufactured. It's something that the media needs because nobody watches them. They need these big things. They need these big deals, and it gives them an excuse to throw more propaganda at you. They just need a story to wrap the propaganda in, and this is it. This is their big story. But the interesting thing to me is, we're going down the road of the NSA is the big deal. Right? Ooh, the big boogeyman, the NSA. And, we have at least 17 intelligence agencies. At least. We don't need them. But anyways. They're trying to get us all to look at the NSA. Oh, look at the NSA. Oh, my God. And as you're looking away from Google and Facebook and YouTube, where you're giving your information for free. I mean, it's right there. That's all they need. They don't need any more. You're putting it right out. The NSA, to get the information that they, pretend to want, they don't need to do any of that. They don't need, mega computers. They don't need them. They already have the little room in the telecommunications businesses, like Bell, South, or whatever, and whoever the telecommunications companies are, AT&T. They get their little room, right? And the feed goes right through that little room and then back out again, so they see everything. They see it. But I just don't believe that they need to store it, and I don't believe that they do store it. They don't need to, so why would they? That's my question. Why would they store every bit of information? Why would they waste valuable computer space? They build this new facility. I know they have money to burn that they created out of thin air and then burn it again, but still, these people, there's a logic behind what they do. I'm just imagining that they use these computers probably for something else, but I don't know what it is. If there even are computers there, I assume there are, in this new facility in Utah. So I'm just saying, maybe this is a misdirection, and they're telling us that NSA is doing all this stuff when they're really doing something else, and they want us to believe it. Believe me, they want me to believe that they're really doing this thing that they say they're doing. I'm sorry, I get conspiratorial like that. But regardless of that idea, this is a good way to put forth their case about watching your every move. All right? You got Edward Snowden comes out and says they're doing this and they're doing that. But if this is all a put on, I would say this is their other agenda, is to give themselves a reason to come forward and make the case that you need to be spied on. Because they couldn't do it before. I mean, they couldn't just come forward and say, look, without this incident, they couldn't just come forward and say, we're spying on you, and we should be doing it. So that gives them a good excuse to make the case. More propaganda. See, it's all it's all propaganda. What's the other issue? I don't know. And finally, oh, I hate to mention this, but I'm going to mention the snowball thing, the fake snow. I respectfully am going to say that I do not believe that the snow is fake. Okay? I love everybody, but the snow is real. Some of those videos, they're being disingenuous when they take the snowball. And first of all, you're not gonna melt snow. If you're in the army or something, and they're like, make me a cup of tea, make me a pot of coffee, go outside, get some snow, and melt it up, and make me a pot of coffee. If you pull out a lighter, you're gonna get smacked. What are you doing? That's not how you do it. You put it in a pan, put it in a stove, and you're done. Okay, but anyways, it's a neat idea. Take a lighter to the snowball and see if it melts. But you know that the snowball is filled with air. You know that. It's like a sponge. So whatever does melt is going to run down to the bottom and sit there in the cavities. You know that. I know that you know this. Okay, so if you want to, okay. We all know that for a fact. If we're above age, whatever, you pick it. We know that's true. But you see them in the disingenuous ones. turning the snowball, turning it and turning it and turning it. They don't keep the Bic lighter there, the Bic or other type lighter, just to keep it in one spot. No, they're turning it around. They're getting the whole thing sooty. And they're keeping that ball of water moving around because they don't want it to drip. There's water there. I can see it because it gets darker. It's dark on the bottom. Why is that snowball dark on the bottom? It's like gray. It's not white. It's gray because it's full of water. I'm sorry to talk about this, but I have to, I guess. But, you know, I love everybody out there, and if they want to believe that the snow is fake, that's fine with me. That's if they really believe it. But what bugs me is the people who know it's not, what they're saying is not real. That's what bugs me. They know it, but they just want to get views or whatever they're doing. I don't know. Dabu 7 is a classic case of just want to get views. Making money off of views. Okay? Sensationalism. It's a neat little experiment, but I mean, okay, and then the other thing is the soot. I'm sorry to even explain this. I don't want to bore you too much. But the other thing is the soot. If you have a fireplace, or you know, you work with fire, you know, a little bit, you know that if you take a flame and you put it, if you cool it off, it's gonna go out. Like if I try to light you know, a frozen piece of wood with super cold, it's gonna be harder to light, and if it does catch fire, it's gonna be really smoky because it won't burn well, because it needs the heat to be a complete burn. The hotter it burns, the more complete it burns. So you light a Bic lighter and you just have it out in the air, it's going to burn as completely as it can, because there's nothing cold impinging on it and cooling off the gases. And when you stick a snowball in there, that's as cold as it's going to get. Right into the flame, you're going to make it burn worse and dirty. And that's what's happening. And it's sooty. Sorry. You can take a bowl, ceramic bowl, or take this coffee cup and, you know, put the lighter to it, dip the flame right in dip the cup into the flame, and it will do the same thing. Right, little baby? Yes. Okay, so I'm sorry. There's that. If you want to disagree with that, that's cool. But, you know, that's cool with me because it's your honest opinion. You honestly feel that. That's good. You're not trying to deceive anybody. I like that. That's fine with me. Like if you believe the Boston bombing was the explosions were fake, if that's your honest belief, I have no problem with that. People on here I respect and care about believe that. So, you know, if that's their true opinion, that's fine with me. I just know from what I've seen, those explosions were real, and if the explosions were real, then the injuries were real. That's my honest opinion. So, as long as you believe it, that's cool. But people are out there making sensational videos, and they don't believe it, but they don't care if you do. They just want you to watch. I don't know if this video is going to go up. Right, Bee-Boo? And if you stuck around this long, I'm kind of backtracking on the idea that that there's some other type of creator within the creation. Like, I was listening to a lot of Gnostic stuff, and they believe that there's like creators who, you know, is the Godhead, and then there's like creators below that, and then at the bottom there was some other creator came in and made this dirty system. with teeth and pain and whatever. Okay, but I'm going to backtrack from that. That's all speculation, even though they call it Gnostic, knowing. It's still speculation. So I'm going to go with my original thinking on it, that God is good, the Creator is good, created things good, and with X number of rules, and you can take that where you want to. And somehow we've taken it to here. You and I, we're all in it. So, I mean, whatever we have in common created this. I don't know what that was. Curiosity, distrust. We didn't trust the Creator when He said, "Don't do that." I think it's more like this is an option. It was always like the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Well, if the Creator created that, it can't be bad, right? Why would He do that? He wouldn't create something bad. It's just an option. So even though He said, look, you're going to die, let's say that version of it's true. That's probably speculation as well. Even though He said you're going to die, maybe what He meant is you're going to go through a birth-death cycle. Death, birth, birth, death, birth, death. Death will be something that you're going to discover when you go down that road. Okay. But, there's the parable of the good son or the bad son. I forget how that is. But the son that went away and then came back, and the father was overjoyed with the son that went away. So I think that's what we're talking about. It's a similar situation. It's not a bad thing to go down this road that we're going down, but we don't have to keep digging. And I think we're still digging. Either we're digging or we're allowing other people to give us the dig command, and we keep doing it. These crappy people we have in power. I was just listening to Mox News. He had one liberal. He had a show about imagine a liberal America, and believe me, I can imagine that. Not liberal, excuse me. What's the word? Socialist. I can imagine that because I grew up that way. I'm a thinker. I would like to put rules in place that can steer this country into, a better... There's ways to do it. You can do it through rules. You can make rules up that, without going fully socialist, that curb the bankers and all that stuff. You can do it. And I love their enthusiasm. These people, they really want good for Americans and people in general. They really do. But you have to temper that with who are you putting in charge of the system? Because eventually, if it's centralized, that's my big problem. If it's centralized, eventually, even if it's not centralized, but eventually, the creeps will creep in and turn things to their advantage. So it's not that you can't create a great system, it's that there's people out there with no ethics, or if they have ethics or morals, they're not yours and mine, and you need to keep an eye out on them. And we've let them in. Fox is in the hen house, and he's got a microphone, and he's telling you, I'm a chicken. And everything's good. Okay, so you can have any system, like I've said before, as long as the people are ethical and care about each other and do things for the good reasons. One day it will be good. Right, baby? Yes, I'm patting you. Okay, well, good luck, everybody. And enjoy whatever. enjoy yourself. Okay, goodbye.